Kind of bright. Yeah, we're live. I have these. First off, before we get going, I just realized when I ordered them, I have some Ron Cam shirts in blue. Excuse me. And I have sizes up to 3XL in the blue. I have them up to 2XL in the red. I have a couple of mediums. I have larges, extra larges, and then double X. And then in the blue, I don't have any mediums. I think I have 1X, 2X, and 3X. Might have some larges also in the blue. So shirts are available. Let me know if anybody's interested. I'll put my email down and you guys can order. Just use the email and PayPal. Pretty easy to do. Also have cams available. But tonight, our topic of discussion is packages. You can see from the thumbnail, I have a package photo up there. And it was a combination. This was a Lenati Holly kind of thing that we had put together long ago. And the nice thing about this, and we'll look at both sides of this equation. So if you do you want a heads cam intake package that works and you put it on, you've got a 350 or a small block forward or an LS or whatever it is, you got a combo package that if you use this cam and this head and these heads and this intake manifold, here's what you get. Bolt it all on, it all goes together, it all works. In some cases with an LS, you might not even need the heads. But same thing with small block forwards and stuff. Do you want to do that? Or the flip side of that is, do you want to go in and choose your own things and piecemeal it and put together, your own kind of, individualized combination? What do you think is going to work better? What's the best way to go? In fact, that's going to be our poll for tonight. Would you rather eat a fish? Would you rather can't do the would you rather. Okay, would you choose to buy a complete DYNO verified heads cam intake package, a known quantity that you put this on this and it does this, or would you choose that over a do-it-yourself combo, over you piecemealing something together? Would you choose the complete package over doing it yourself? So we're going to talk about that. And there are, as always, two sides to the equation here. Excuse me. By the way, thank you guys for all the well wishes. Milo is actually doing pretty good right now. He had, like I said, he had a seizure the other night, and we thought that because he's 14 and he might not be able to come through, but he woke up in the morning and seemed like he was moving around okay and stuff. And we actually took him, Lisa and I. His favorite place is up on top of the hill that we go to, that we used to take hikes, that takes hikes with all the time with the puppies now and then with Milo. And, I wanted him to go up there one more time and hopefully walk him up there, get him in shape enough where he could make that. Because he had done hikes with us and stuff. And he'd gone up there hundreds of times. It was, like I said, his favorite place in the world. In fact, we would hike up sometimes and get to a point that's lower than that, thinking that, hey, he might not be able to go all the way. And he would, he'd be laying down with us, catching his breath and stuff and taking advantage of the shade and everything. And then when we would get up and start walking head downhill, he would walk up and start going up the hill and look back at us like, yeah, we're not done yet. we're going up to the top because I'm a finisher guy. This is happening. I'm going up to the top. We're already here, so I'm going all the way up, and so he can lay down up and look out over the valley and everything, and get a nice breeze. And that was his favorite place. So we didn't think that he could walk all the way up there, especially after having this seizure or stroke or whatever it is he had. So we took him and set up a wagon and put him in the wagon, and we hauled him up there. My son was with us, and Noah helped haul him up a good bit of the way, and then he had to leave and go to work. And then Lisa and I pulled him up the rest of up a very steep hill. And it was a long way. It was a hill that I couldn't run up, so it's pretty serious. And so we pulled him all the way up there and took him out of the wagon, let him walk around and stuff. And we sat up there for, I don't know, probably 2 hours while he just sat up there with the breeze, and it was nice. And and then when we came back down, he's like, okay, that was great. I think maybe the wagon all the time now. I think the wagon is the way to go, is the way to climb this hill. But he seems to be doing better. And so we don't want him to ever be in pain and stuff, and know that he's getting older, and know that that's coming. But for right now, he's doing good. So that's the message for today. We got the shirts, but let's talk about head scam and intake manifold combos. First of all, we'll talk about like putting together a known combo package that people sell, the head scam and intake manifold. Here, put these on, and this does this. Here are the nice things about that. First of all, they have already done the design work and the testing and the verification for you. So in most cases, by an Edelbrock package, a Holley package, Trickflow package, whatever it is, they've already tested that. Here on this, you got a 440 Mopar, you put their aluminum heads on, a camshaft intake manifold, it does this. Small block Chevy, whatever it is, small block Ford, and LS, whatever it is. Here's this package, known cylinder heads, known camshaft, known induction system. Here's the test procedure. Here's the test motor. Here are the results. If you do this, this is what will happen. That's awesome. So going in what the results are going to be. And so if you want that kind of power gain and you want that for your motor to be that, all you got to do, hey, there's no guesswork. You just do this, and it's easy. It's, right there for you and ready to go in. You put that on, you get those results. That's fantastic. Here's human nature stepping into that conversation and going, oh yeah, that's totally wrong. That is not the way to go at all, because now that whatever that combination is and whatever the gains were, let's say you picked up, I don't know, 150 horsepower or whatever, 200 horsepower. Unfortunately, now the stock number is no longer the baseline. Now the combination number is now the baseline for people in their infinite wisdom. Okay, well, if that's how much you made, think about what I could make. I don't mean me as Richard. I mean me as in people. This is our psyche. Well, I could do a lot better than that. Okay. And in I'm sure a lot of cases that happens where, you put together a known combination, they have more than enough piston to valve clearance. They have some sort of middle of the road kind of camshaft because they don't want to go all the way out and have it be a cantankerous can that most people, quite honestly, would be unhappy with. They pick an intake manifold, again, that's not tunnel ram because it's going to stick out of the hood. Nobody wants to cut the hood, yada, yada, yada. They pick an intake manifold that will go on there, whether it's a dual plane carbureted manifold or some sort of long run or EFI manifold, whatever it is. They pick that, and they know that going in. So when they're designing these packages, and as a business, if you want to sell these packages, you have to design them to the biggest chunk of audience. That makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that. That's business 101. Where are the most customers? Okay, let's make something for those customers. And that's what these things do. That's what these combinations do. But when you do that, just like when the OEMs build a motor for a stock combination, they don't build it to make the most amount of power. They have a lot of other goals that they're trying to meet. And so they do that. And so that leaves room on the table. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these combo packages that we could just put on and add 150 horsepower or whatever. So we have a known combination. And then people start thinking, okay, well, I can do better than that. What if I use that head but mill those heads? What if I put a different head, a CNC head on? What if I put this other guy's head that says that head's better than this other guy's? Okay, what if I put a bigger camshaft in instead of a 220 cam? What if I put a 230 camshaft in? Okay, all that's possible. What if I tailor this thing more toward high RPM and I run a single plate manifold or a short runner EFI manifold and run a 230 or 235 cam instead of a 220 cam, and then either port the heads myself or get ported versions of those heads, and where everything's better. I've made everything better. I've made the new Super Richie combination or Super Frank or Super Joe or whoever the super is. I've done this. The problem with that is while all of that makes perfect sense, logically, that all these things should be better and therefore the combination should be better, you don't know what it will do because you haven't tested that. That's a new combination. So unless somebody like me or the other guys that are out there, when you buy some dog treats, thank you, Bigfoot, we will. There's nothing that they like more than that. And that's how we knew something was wrong with Milo, is right after he suffered this. I mean, I laid on the ground with him for hours and hours and hours, stayed up most of the night, because this doesn't happen. This happens Friday night at 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, whenever the most expensive time is for emergency room stuff. So, but we knew that something was bad because he wouldn't take treats. So I was having him smell them and stuff, and just kind of judging how he felt and stuff. So we'll definitely do that. They love that. I did share pizza with him. So if Tim is here, today was a pizza day, and we shared it with the dogs because while I'm sitting there eating pizza, their job is to sit there and, right in front of the couch and just stare at me until their eye lasers wear me down enough to where I acquiesce and pizza drops on the ground and they actually get to have some. So that thanks for that. So when people are trying to make things better, if you go logically and if you've done the research and you've gone online and looked at a lot of stuff and go, oh yeah, well, this trick flow head's better than this stock head, and this camshaft should be better, and this intake should be better, and you put together a combination, it turns out to be better, and that's great. A lot of times, though, what happens is guys maybe aren't qualified or haven't done the homework, and they want to put together their own combination that's going to be better. And the better is only in air quotes. It turns out not to be better because the people that put together the original combination package have done a lot of dyno testing and designing of products, and kind of know when they put these combinations together, and having tested a whole bunch of times, they know what they get and have tested it, and this is what it does. When you're putting together a brand new combination, you don't always know how the things are going to work well together. Now, if you put a 230 camshaft in it, it's going to act a lot like other 230 camshafts, so that your odds are pretty good. But still, you don't know. And so you don't know until you put it together and run it either on the chassis dyno or out on the street or at the drag strip or wherever you're doing it. You don't know if it's going to do the thing that you want. And particularly at the drag strip, you don't know if it's going to do the thing you want, because maybe you did add the 230 cam in place of the 220 cam and the ported heads and the short runner intake, and you go to foot brake this thing, off the leave, and it's a dog because it lost a whole bunch of low speed power and you don't have enough converter. And so now even the motor definitely makes more power, because once it gets going, but the 60-foot time is terrible and you've lost a second there, and then you've gained the second at the rest of them because it charges hard on the big end. Or maybe you've gained 2 seconds and it charges hard on the big end, but your net gain's only a second, which is still good, but not as good as it could be if that combination, if there was a different combination, maybe the milder combination working with the stock converter, or your high RPM combination was then obviously further modified by having the right converter put in there and or gearing, all that stuff comes into play. And so the success of the combination may be affected by other things. That's very important to think about, because you want it to work, and to get it to work, sometimes you need to do these other things. And you don't think about that while you're trying to make the known combination even better, because we do that. It's just like if 7 pounds is good, it's better than that. Yes, 10 pounds is definitely better than 7 pounds. So let's see what you guys got going on. Eric, Jet, Infamous Nova, Gary, what's going on? Taylor, you have to hook up with Scat and Summit, offer Richie rotating assemblies. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to sell that stuff. But I'm pretty close with both of those guys, both those companies, anyways. Sloppy cans with Liberty heads. Richard, I just emailed you. I would like to buy some shirts. I need 3XLs for height. Okay. I've got them in blue. We have the 3Xs. I was surprised. I was digging through all the shirts because my son is helping me right now get stuff packaged up and ready to ship and stuff. And I was going through all the shirts, and I didn't see any red 3Xs, but do have them in blue. And so I thought that's good. 10 thumbs up. Thank you. I would do it myself. Yeah, there's a lot of good qualified guys out there. He needs some treats. Yeah, he definitely, trust me, he's and we give him in fact, I use we go get bones from Costco. They're like the rawhide ones. And then what we do is I take like your pruning shears, your loppers, and I cut all these in half because they're pretty long. So we cut them in half. And then that way there's twice as many of them because we have 3 dogs. And then we give them one to each of them, and they all go to their separate little area. I mean, they can all see each other because they got to keep an eye on each other. But they all, one's on the grass and one's by the bushes, and Milo's in here laying on the bricks because it's nice and cool in the shade because he's smart. And they all just sit there and enjoy their bones for, like 15 minutes or whatever. Milo's usually the first one done. He's pretty good at it. But yeah, we'll definitely get him for a noob like you're going with a combo. And that's why they sell so many of those combos. It's not because people are uneducated or whatever, but let's face it, the guys that do that for a living are better at it than most of the people out there that don't do that for a living. That's true of anything. If I break my arm, I'm not going to go, you know what? I'm going to go on the internet. I think I could do this. I'm going to go to a doctor who's been to med school, who understands broken arms, and I'm going to have the right guy try to fix my arm because later on I would like to use it. Got the sensor weight down to 2,600. Nice. 300 wheel horsepower and 2,600 pounds. That should feel really good. I've driven cars like that because our road race Del Sol I don't think we were down at 2,600. But when I had the turbo motor, when we were testing it, I got to drive it back from the chassis dyno back on the, in Mexico to the shop. And you could feel what that kind of weight and power output is. You need matching springs. Yeah, right now the BTR $79 springs are good, but I could buy a bunch of LS3 springs or those $79 BTR springs. Way back in '89, I purchased a performance camshaft intake and carburetor kit for my small block. It was supposed to be increased torque for towing. I think it was put together. Summit used to sell stuff like that. PAW used to do that too. PAW and Speed Emotive back in the day used to do that. If the wife is yelling at the front door and the dog is barking at the back door, who do you let in first? Wow, that's hardcore. Synth. I sent you an email about the low buck truck cam. Okay, I got those in stock. In fact, we got 30 of them that we just boxed up. When I say we, I mean mostly my son. Yeah, dogs are awesome. Wish I could help. Yeah, we're all there for him, and it was nice to get the family all together, and that's when we all come together. That's good stuff. I think it was Super Shops in Azusa. I got the kit from Edelbrock dual plane intake, AVS carburetor, torque 2 Urson camshaft, claim 15% increase in torque and 10% horsepower. That should be realistic depending on what you're exchanging it for. Certainly for a 2-barrel on a stock cam, that'd be pretty easy upgrade. For to pick on my own cams based off dyno results, off of my dyno results. And mine, I don't have the only dyno results that are out there, but it's a good idea to get that sort of information, because if you see that somebody did a real test, you're like, oh, okay, well, at least if I do my own test and I do my own dyno test, if I get 10 horsepower and they got 80, then you know something's going on. More than likely with your combo for only getting 10 horsepower. So you're like, hey, I was only running 8 degrees of timing. Well, if you put the real timing in it, it will make all the power. Or that, I know guys on the internet want to find out, oh, those guys are making up their numbers. Everyone wants to be Robin Hood and find out that the advertisers are cheating you, or all that. That's just nonsense. In today's day and age, it doesn't behoove particularly an advertiser or manufacturer to make false claims, because if somebody finds out about that, the word spreads too fast now with social media. And the downside of that is that people know that, and they use it to spread false information about manufacturers that they don't like because they didn't get treated right, or they're on hold for too long, or whatever their deal is. There's always going to be people like that. So that's unfortunate. I've been happy with both scenarios. Yeah, I've done that too. We've done like power packages. I put that Edelbrock, the one that worked, I thought worked really well, is we put the Edelbrock kit on the 351 Windsor, and that was a big change in power. If I was building a 4853 or 60, I would buy a package deal based on the recommendations. There's a lot of dyno testing for that stuff. Big block Chevy 454 and Pontiac V8s. I have my own ideas and experience. Good. And then that's why you should help out the community and tell us what works, what kind of information you have, what kind of dyno test numbers you have. Just remember, to someone, you'll always have the wrong cam. That is the case, no matter what. It ran good. It never at the track, but did run 1050 in the 8th at 6,000 pounds. Nice. My guess is about second faster than stock. Good. The nice thing now about like the draggy thing is amazing. I don't have one, but my buddy Jimmy that has the NSX has one. He's used it a lot. And I think that's an amazing piece of technology. So the draggy guys, you guys should get a hold of me so I can do some testing. But the nice thing about that is that you don't have to have an engine dyno or a chassis dyno, or even go to the drag strip. You can use that to, in fact, way back in the day, I used to Vericom a lot of stuff because I wanted to have both sets of data. I wanted to have, hey, look, we did this to it and it showed this much power. Back then, when I started doing dyno testing and verifying stuff was somewhat new. But I also wanted to find out what does it really do? Like what did it do when we did ported runners in a tuneport Corvette or a bigger throttle body or headers or whatever? What does it do? Let's take it out and run some 0 to 60 stuff, because let's see what it does. Let's see if we got some acceleration gains. We need to get the 360 camshaft. Just open it up all the time. I need to get a drag. A draggy's good. There's a lot of data there that's available to you. And if you're an analytical sort, if you're a dyno guy that likes data, there's a lot of good stuff there. Lots and lots of good stuff. What are we doing? How is our poll doing? Would you choose to buy a complete package over a DIY? Interesting. 62% versus 38% saying no. That's good. That might have something to do with the viewership of the channel, maybe. Richard, did you ever find out what heads are on an L83? An L83 fuel-injected motor or an L83 crossfire motor? I do my test drive going on the freeway on ramp. Yeah, that's smart. If you have, especially if you have the ones that are metered, like we have those in California. I don't know if maybe they have those elsewhere too, but you basically, they're giving you a light to accelerate to get on the freeway. So if that sounds like a drag strip, it kind of is, depending on what the on-ramp section looks like. If it's nice and straight, that's cool. Sometimes they're going around a turn, but that also is cool. Direct injected L83. Did I ever find out what heads are on it? On my L83, it has L83 heads on it. It has stock heads on it. I'd like to see a combo with everything that I need to run, as long as it included things like carburetor and jet size that were used during the dyno testing. So you want everything picked out? The problem with picking jetting and stuff for an engine dyno is that it might not be the jetting that you want on the street. Most people like will never know the difference between two engines that are set close but 15 horsepower off. Yeah, I don't know what you'd need for a lot of guys, like 15 horsepower difference on a 100 horsepower motor. You'd know that difference. 1500 horsepower on 500 horsepower, that you'd be really hard pressed to feel that difference, I think, from behind the wheel. So that would almost need to be some sort of quantified thing. Mike, I don't have any updates on the Omni other than I need to go pick it up. Drag van, that used to be my thing, was that I, when I had the Vortex, the Vortex supercharger on my Mustang, I had an on-ramp that we used to go get, to do the test on. If it spin the tires, because it was an on-ramp that kind of went up a hill. It went up like this. It had a slight elevation change, and it was kind of cool. So I knew if it spun the tires this amount, then it was tuned. It was working pretty good. Wallace Racing is saying 12.2 in the quarter at 110, 300 horsepower and 2,600 pounds. Yeah, I think that number is going to be with. Does Wallace Racing tell you what that 60 foot time is? Because that's probably a rear wheel drive hooking, really good combination. Would you think about doing dyno tests on different tunnel rams on the 383, like on a small block? I'll go look and see if the guys from Engine Masters have done, if that's what it is. If it's on the 383 Dodge, I doubt that would ever happen. But on a 383 small block, they may have run a bunch of tunnel rams on them already. Tim, I'd buy a complete heads cam intake if the combo had a good price. That's the other thing is that I didn't mention when we were supposed to be talking about this, is that one of the problems with a package like that, if you're buying heads cam and intake manifold all at one shot, is that that's going to be pretty pricey. Almost no matter what it is, the heads are going to be $1,000 to $2,000 just by themselves. An intake manifold is going to be $300, $400, or $500 depending on what it is, and then some of them go up to 1,000 horsepower. If it's an elaborate 2-piece EFI manifold, then you have to have fuel rails for it. And you're talking about having bigger injectors, a throttle body, and then the camshaft, depending on what engine family it's for, that's going to be a couple to multiple couple $200 to $400 or more, depending on what it is. So it gets expensive for a guy to save up and buy all of that. And then when you're seeing that, if it's $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, you're like, I really could just do a turbo setup on this thing. I can't use a wet brake dyno jetting for the street because you can't dial in transitional circuits to wide open throttle. Only secondary wide open throttle have a respectable base. Steve Brule is actually pretty good at setting carburetors, even on the engine dyno. He's done a lot of that stuff particularly for boat applications. And so we can do transfer. We can do change in load on the dyno. So we can do transitional circuits because we can kind of tell, you can tell transitional, at least the initial transitional circuit, just by free revving it. And then we can do that with different kinds of loads and stuff on the dyno. So I think we could get it close. But I would be interested to see what happens when you take a carburetor the way that we tuned it on the engine dyno and then ran it on the chassis dyno or ran it on the street, or vice versa. If you had a combination that worked good on the street, and we would have to know what that is. So we have to know that, okay, it feels good and it works good. It transitions well. Seems to make good power or whatever on the street or at the track. But what is that? Is that 13.0 at wide open throttle everywhere? Is it 12.0, 12.5? Is it 13.0 and then 11.5 and then 12.8? What does that look like? And then we could run that with that sort of jetting on the dyno and go, oh, this is where it wants to be. We could look at that dyno airfield curve and go, okay, this is the kind of circuitry that it wants. As a truck driver, I wish people would get up to speed by the time they get on the dyno. I mean, on the freeway, yeah, and not be going 45 and a 75. That was actually one of the things that when I'm driving a lot, I talk to myself a bunch. And one of the things I want to do as a video is driving etiquette and common sense. And that's one of the big ones, is that a lot of people don't understand. And the way to explain it to them is to do it logically, that it's a lot easier for you to make an adjustment in speed to move yourself into a position, to slot yourself into either before or after another vehicle if you're already up to speed. It's a lot easier to make an adjustment with the brake than it is with the gas. Because if you're right next to another car and you have to accelerate and you have to go fast, you guys are both going 60 or 65 or whatever, or maybe you were going 55 and he's going 60 and you're thinking that you're going to be getting in front of him, the amount of distance that's going to be required for you to accelerate up to speed and get past them or not be in their way is more than likely, is what you're talking about. The amount of distance required is dramatic, but the amount of distance for you to slow down from 65 to 60 to slot in behind this person, that takes no time at all and no distance at all. So it's a lot easier to do that. So the upshot of all of this is accelerate up to speed. Be going the speed that the rest of the cars are going so that you can safely and efficiently merge onto the cars already going that speed. My 06 GTO is almost done. LS2, BTR hot rod cam, bicycle piston, summit rods, LS3 heads, slightly modified, LS3 intake, hidden nitro spray bar. Nice. It should do 650 with a 150 shot. Drove a Jeep Grand Wagoneer with a twin turbo 6-cylinder. Man, that thing moved. Mike, it's more expensive if you buy the wrong parts. That's true. If you have to buy something and buy something again, I think you see that. Excuse me. I think you see that often enough with camshafts. Is guys buy typically too big of a camshaft. And like I said, it's real soft down low. This thing drives terrible. Yeah, it does. It's 257 degrees at 50. That's too big. My best 60-foot time is 257. Yeah, that's not going to get a good quarter-mile time, 250. I'm down to ordering a new oil pump for my small block Mopar. Found a high-volume stock oil pressure pump that doesn't need a forged oil pump shaft. 408 stroker daily driver. It runs nitrous. Is a forged oil pump shaft, like, is that a big deal, or is that just like a ARP thing? Or, I mean, everybody sells them for Fords and Chevys. I don't know what the Dodge version of it like. An oil pump shaft, the heavy duty oil pump shaft, particularly because when I first started out doing dyno testing, I started out with Fords. My 5-liter Ford motor from my Mustang was the first engine that I ran on the dyno. And oil pump shafts, like heavy duty or hardened oil pump shafts, definitely a good idea on a small block Ford. Also, I think on a small block Chevy. And so that's one of the things that I would definitely upgrade on putting a motor together, like rebuilding something. Vehicle weight, different gear, auto, yeah, all that stuff. People just left 10 foot and started driving when the light turns green. It takes these bozos years to get through a light. Offer a package for stock heads. Yeah, stock heads would be good. That's what a cam is essentially for the LS, because you already have a good intake and you already have a good cylinder head. I mean, good, better than stuff that came before that. So a camshaft is that. You could also do a different intake manifold. People forget what 80,000 pounds can do. Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good situation. Mostly because I'm cheap and broke and I'm not going to buy it all at once. Yeah, that's what we were talking about, James. It's not, that's a real thing. I mean, if you're talking about $3, $4, $5, $6,000, whatever the package turns out being, all of it together, it's a big chunk of money, man. As someone who has firsthand experience with the early 2000s Performer RPM package on 9.5 to 1 350 and 80 Z28, very nice, thumbs up. Getting walked on by a 350 with ported fuel heads and a 294 cam and a Nova, I voted no. Was your 80 Z28, it was a 350 in it? Some of the stuff that we got in California had 305s in them. Edelbrock heads perform better than they should have for the port size. An Edelbrock Performer RPM head should be way better than a Fuelie head is, unless it was worked on a lot. I will admit, I just don't know enough to put together a well-balanced kit before. Yeah, better than what the pros do. That's good. We have to know our limitations. 350 turbo, 350, 373 gears. That should work good. We had a 77 Camaro that had a had that combination. Include a section on how to pull into the intersection when making a left turn, then actually making the turn before the cross traffic has a green. There's so many things. All right, Bigfoot, we'll see you, man. Completely off topic. Where's your beer? I don't drink beer, so it's at the store, I guess. Actually, I have some in the refrigerator because a buddy of mine, another road racer that I raced with, brought some stuff over because he came over to see me and he brought beer ostensibly for him. So it's still sitting in there. So it's a little something or something like that. Yeah, beer's not my thing. I like other kinds of drinks. The shaft has a gear on it. Yeah, that's pretty normal and runs off the camshaft. Just worried about breaking the camshaft instead of the oil pump. But both of those gears should be compatible, right? Vortec heads flow well. Vortec heads flow about what a Fuelie head flows. They have a little bit better low lift numbers, I think. But neither one of those heads should flow at a Performer RPM head flows. Sean, that's right. We got blue, and we got red. So I appreciate that. Sean stepping up, putting his money where his mouth is. So go use my email address, and then you use that for PayPal. Just make sure, put your name, address, what size, and what color shirt you want. Yes, I definitely buy a complete proven kit, especially if I can put it on some sort of payment plan. And some places have that. Summit, I think, has that stuff. Looking to build an NA stick shift car. Which one of your engine test sets would you use or recommend? Well, that doesn't matter that it's a stick shift car, really. What motor do you have and how much power are you trying to make? Just if you tell me that, and what is the engine family? So then I can kind of let you know. Yeah, I was trying now to figure out what my PayPal login. Mine is, hey Lisa, what is my password for this and this and this? Then where is it? Somewhere here. Because she has a book that she has everything in. She got me this. I haven't opened it yet and put anything in it, but I have it, and I need to put stuff in there. She's so awesome. We need black shirts. Okay. The other shirt. Who would want to get a shirt for their wife or significant other? So the next shirt that I want to do is wrong cam, but right girl. It's a little something for her. My husband picked the wrong cam, but he picked the right girl. Can't find that information. I heard that I need a billet camshaft to run the hardened gear and shaft. Worried about it, not a billet camshaft. See, is yours a flat tappet cam? Broad question, standard cam and motor. Do motors respond to cam timing changes in general? I have never seen a stock combination of any engine family that didn't respond to changes in cam timing, because the factory cam is not designed for maximum power. It's designed for fuel mileage and longevity and emissions and all the drivability and all these things, idle quality and noise. And it's not designed to make more power. So I've never found an engine yet that you couldn't make more power with the right cam timing. If I see a woman with a wrong cam shirt on and she ain't got a ring, I'm gonna fix that. I like that, Sean. That's good. Because I have the one that we were going to make for Lisa is I have the other guy's shirt, and hers is the only girl. You know. I think it's because the RPM cam has lazy ramps, 234, 244. Yeah, that's pretty good size for a 350. If it was a little more aggressive, keep the 50 number. What was the lift on that thing? Had arrows, yep. Right one, right, wrong cam, right woman. That's right. Yeah, we just got to make sure we're taking care of our people. If only we could have both aggressive lobe, and torque, and drivability. You forgot fuel mileage. Something like 488, 500. So that's going to be, with that much duration, that's a pretty stable ramp. Pretty stable ramp rate. I'll sacrifice having 1,000 wrong cams to get the right woman. Lucky for me, I have both. Well, I have the wrong cam, so I definitely have the right woman. That's right. We could give ourselves a compliment and say, I picked the wrong cam. She picked the right guy. Sean, shirts are 20. So to give people an idea, shipping for the shirt is more than the shirt. I have a 6-liter LQ9, possibly 650, 700 horsepower to tires if possible. You need to do that with boost, or you need to do that with boost. 700 horsepower at the tire is going to require boost. Have you ever worked with David DV? I'm sure that's David Vizard, right? To get the right cam. David and I have spoken a lot. I would think that we're good friends. I like David a lot. I think I should send him a shirt. Summit House brand, Melanized, small buck Chevy. Gear is good. Running it on my 454 Gen 6 engine for 2 years. Now with 80 psi of oil pressure. Check recently, zero wear, factory billet cam, and gear. House brand, Melanized, Chevy, small block, and big block gears. Okay, for the distributors, or for the cam. He seems very specific. Yeah, but again, and we've talked. I don't know if you've been here a lot, Hio Silver. I don't know if you've been here on the live feed a lot, but we've spoken about David. Like I said, I think the world of David. He's fantastic. But I disagree with the notion of there being a right cam. That's part of why this wrong cam thing is so accurate, is that because the concept of having the best cam or the right cam is wholly subjective. That's why we have so many different kinds of cams. That's why we have a low buck truck camshaft, and we also have a stage 4 BTR LS3 camshaft, and we also have a torque cam or a stock cam or an LS2 cam or LS1 cam. That's why there are so many cams. There isn't one that's going to be everything to everybody. That's not, first of all, right off the bat, if you did do a camshaft like that, and the cams that David wants to do are all custom cams. And so if you do a custom cam, and let's say you got it to make, let's say you were Magic and you got to make more power everywhere than every other cam in existence. Here are the problems with that. First of all, that's not possible. But if it were, let's say that happened. Here are the other problems with that. The first thing is cost. It's a custom cam, so it's going to be more expensive than shelf cams, and then cheap shelf cams, and then China cams. So there are lots of people that buy just on cost. So it wouldn't make any difference what it did. They're not going to buy it. Also, it's going to have idle issues because it's going to be a tight LSA, because David is the tight LSA guy. So it's going to have idle and vacuum issues. And so you have to deal with that. It's going to have drivability stuff. And also, everybody doesn't want that. They want other things. They want chop. They want low speed torque, which is really hard. Like torque at 2000 RPM, very, very hard to get with a camshaft. They want all the power on the top. They want the highest average power. They want all kinds of different things. They want good fuel mileage, like I said. And one camshaft can't do all of that. And that's why we have so many different camshafts. My little 4.6 is okay on mileage, but it also doesn't make a lot of power either. I think that my 4.6, I had a non-PI before I put the camshaft in it, when it still had the stock cam, the stock heads, and all that stuff on it. I think that got better fuel mileage than my 5-liter Mustang did, if I remember right. It was a good hot street package, but it was also designed for longevity, not all performance in the end. It was a package, and you can't be known for eating valve train, or you won't sell them. Yeah, and especially if it was a flat tappet cam, they put really soft springs in a lot of that stuff. The melanized gears price went up. Stock gears wear out on 454 Gen 6s. The gears do? I don't remember. I've taken a lot of them apart, but honestly, don't remember looking at the gear wear. I'll have to check that out. Sean, getting blue and red. That's the way to go. Matt Happel needs a shirt. That's right. Matt actually sent me a shirt, so I need to send him one back. You should do his Slavic Mechanics radio show. I already have once. It lasted a long time. Probably longer than he wanted. Need to see if Matt still plays with blocks. Yeah. I have a 92 Caprice wagon with a Chevy 350 TBI. I need choppy. Eliminate the cam and use solenoid valves. Yeah, that's been tried. What's the next big bang? I don't know what the next one will be. Probably the 3800, I think. 65% are still on the yes side of complete packages. I think all of the manufacturers should pay me for these polls. I tried to. I've told you guys here on the live feed a bunch of times that I get people hitting me up all the time via email of things that they want me to promote on the channel, and it's always like, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. But somebody had a scooter, an electric scooter. Now I have a GoPed that I ride almost every day. I love it. And in fact, I just rode it several times today. I rode it over to my mom's to help brush her pool. She's dealing with a black algae situation that I'm trying to get under control. So it requires lots of scrubbing and lots of special black algae stuff and lots of chlorine. So I'm over there helping with that, but I ride over there. I don't take my truck. Right now, the AC in my truck is not working, so I just need to have it charged, I think. But what I did is, first time I went over there today, I went for a run. It was hot, so I got on the GoPed, drove the GoPed over there, jumped in the pool, cooled off, rode the GoPed back. And then I went back over there and was scrubbing the pool, rode the GoPed back. I usually take it over to 7-Eleven all the time. And I just do that instead of, taking my truck and wasting all the truck fuel on it. And it works good. But I talked to another company had reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to do something on our scooter? I'm like, yeah, I actually kind of would. This is something that I would use all the time. And I could do some cool like evaluations on, acceleration and top speed and GPS it for like, my head's just whirling around. I could do GPS to figure out if the distance that they say that this thing will run on a charge, I could actually do that. And I have a hill that I run. I could see if the GoPed or the scooter could go up this grade. There's all kinds of cool, like pseudo dyno testing that I could do. So I thought, oh, this is right up my alley. This would be perfect. But what they wanted, and the thing that I didn't want to do with them, and now I think about it, I probably should have just said yes, but I was being difficult. They said, okay, we'll give you a scooter, and then you just need to, put our name in these things, and the normal kinds of things. And I said, but there's one thing on there that says that you guys have that I would give you full rights to the video. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I said, I'm not going to shoot the video and edit the video and post the video so that then you guys could then use the video wherever you want. You could then actually go post the video on some other format, my video on some other format. I said, for whatever the cost of the scooter is, a couple $100. I said, that doesn't make any sense to me. So I wouldn't be interested in giving you full rights to the video. I said, but I would do all the other things that you're looking for. And I said, and I would allow you guys to use portions of the video in your own, like, your in-house advertising or the things that you're doing promotion. Hey, look, this guy did this video on this. I said, all that's fine. I said, I just don't want you to be able to take the video and go do whatever you want with the video. I said, that's not for a $250 scooter or whatever. I said, this doesn't make good financial sense. And so that it killed that deal. I lucked up. I guess I grabbed a 99.53 Z71 for $500. Needs trans. No big problem. Looking to get 400 plus horsepower. Would your cam and some springs be able to make it? It will. That cam with springs will make more than 400 horsepower flywheel. It's not going to make it 400 at the tire though, because that would be a lot. Because your stock 5.3 in a Z71, if it has big tires on it, is going to make 230, 250 at the tire. I think 400 would be a lot. You're not going to get 150 horsepower from a cam, but it's going to make 425 or something like that at the flywheel. Cam recommendations for a 351 or road race setup: have forged DSS, pistons, rods, Edelbrock heads, lightweight built flywheel, road race, trans. What intake manifold do you have on that? And what kind of, I don't know what Edelbrock heads you have. Like, I don't know what kind of power are you trying to make? 44 likes and 51 people viewing. Need to hit that thumbs up button. We got 63 and 54 right now. What cam for a GoPed? I know, I do need that. I actually just need to fix the GoPed. The GoPed still can't go to wide open throttle for some reason. Enjoying a scotch by the fire. Nice. My wife and I have been watching, we had watched Billions for a long time, and now we're watching Suits. I think we're on the 8th season or something. So we watch it a lot. We sit down, we watch like 1 or 2 episodes, or it's the time that we spend together. And they always drink scotch on this. And it makes me want to drink scotch until I taste scotch. And I'm like, that's not for me. I want to drink 18-year-old Macallan Scotch or the 36-year-old Macallan Scotch that's like $1,000 a shot or something. It's ridiculous. My son was figuring out, because we were looking it up. We were looking at the cost of this, and I think a bottle was, I don't know, $30,000 or $40,000 or something. So we were calculating how much it is per shot. It's a lot. So I know the Trailblazer S intake and truck manifold are great, but my son hates the look. I get that. I feel you. And the Trailblazer SS will hit my heroes. Would you choose a high ram Holley, BTR, sheet metal? We look at the high ram. Yeah, the high ram's fine. You're just going to lose low speed power with it. The BTR, same thing. It's a short runner deal. The high ram would make a little bit more power. I don't know what RPM range you're running at. The high ram will make more low-speed power than the Trinity manifold does. The sheet metal one is an inexpensive one. Again, it's going to trade power. You could put a fast on it, which would be the best of all those choices, but it's not cheap. Factory 454 roller cam is billet steel and the gear machine into a billet core. Only melonized distributor gears or Hamaco bronze 45 will hold up. All Vortec 435057774. We normally run the distributor that we put in most stuff has a bronze gear, only so that we don't have to worry about what kind of gear the, for a small block Chevy or big block Chevy. So we don't have to worry about that. The reason I buy a dyno tested kit is that I don't know all the part numbers and don't know how good or bad something is. If I can see the power curve and horsepower, that would be great. If only Richard would include part numbers and prices on his stuff. I get a lot of requests for that. Richard at 7-Eleven would be epic. Dude, if you come to the one by my house, it's like me walking into Cheers, like, yeah, because not that they know me or know my name, but they see me there all the time. And now, I have been, and I put off getting because I don't want somebody to have my information. Just because I'm in the get off my lawn stage of my life, I think. But it would help me a lot if I just signed up for their rewards thing, because I go there all the time. Nitro Fever shave and polish the stock intake manifold. None are melanized gears. Vortec distributor era. Only vintage muscle cars. I bought an electric Omni 024. That was the R&D car for Jet Industries. There's a video on my channel. That's very cool. I didn't know that they did an electric one. I love the Omni 024s. Those are cool. And I think Ben might have gotten one of those recently from the car farm. We're going to see the LT5 dyno. I doubt that very seriously. AMR supercharged scooter. Yeah, it's not, that's too much blower. Jet Industries. Camshaft specs 228, 235. Can use a 300 horsepower nitro shot, 9.5 to 1 compression, and want 800 wheel horsepower. So 228, 235. What size? Oh, it's on a 408. I think I would. Is it going to be a daily driver? I was going to say, I would put more camshaft in it if you're doing that. You'll want to make more NA power, I think, unless it's a driver. If it's a driver, that's okay. But on a 408, I think I'd still go with more camshaft than that. Could the GoPed engine turn the engine dyno? It won't, I don't think. It does have the wrong cam in the GoPed. Pizza's greater than Scotch. I agree with that. Even though on the show they make fun of people that, because one of the attorneys said the other attorney, you don't like Scotch? You want me to get you a Cosmopolitan? I'm like, dude, I drink those and I like them. That's okay. I won't be made fun of by the TV. Got to watch The Boys. I do want to see that too. I've seen the ads for that, and I definitely will go down that rabbit hole. The new stuff for Cobra Kai just came out, and I just, I'm an 80s guy, so Karate Kid's good stuff. Watch ER. I watched ER for a really, really long time. Are you talking about the old TV show? What gets me? Edelbrock had a small performer 204, 212, and a 400 performer 214, 214 at 50. A single pattern. If you want to try beginner Scotch, and Meringue 10 is great for first timers. So far, it's an RPM air gap, but I'm open to suggestions. I need to go back and look now. I've already forgotten what your deal was. Oh, 351. So how much power do you want to make with that? 3,100 pounds is good. Road race car. An RPM air cap is good, and especially if you want to make more high RPM stuff, you could put a spacer on it if you have hood clearance. That the two that I've tested a lot is that Extreme Energy 274 cam, which I think is pretty good, but I don't know if it's going to have the RPM that you want. The other one is an XFI camshaft. The XFI 236 248 is probably a good one for that. 2007 LY6 2650 TBS blower and an S10. Yeah, that's all good, Frank. Did I miss a question by you previously? Because all that seems like the right way to go. The heads are like Victor Jr., I think, with big ports. Okay. Sign up with fake names, fake emails, fake numbers. I just watched a video on it and thought it was hilarious. Bill, let's see. Okay. There's a guy that read his contract with the bank and edited it to be more favorable and signed it, and the bank didn't realize, and he ended up suing them for breach of contract. Nice. Get a good photo of your car in front of 7-Eleven. Well, it will be the GoPed. These total power packages are nice because you usually have stuff that often gets forgotten. Did you see the Pontiac 301 V8 with a Jaguar supercharger on it running with an Edelbrock Furbarrel carburetor? I didn't see it. That sounds like it would be cool to look at, though. Daily driver with power brakes. Okay, that makes sense. My Camaro ZL1 has the wrong cam. It's stock. I use a Vortec 305, 350, 454 flat distributor cap on a Pontiac 301 V8. Nice. I like when people go think outside the box. Yeah, Sean, my comment is always like, first of all, I don't care. That's the drink doesn't make the man makes the drink. And again, if people are using that as they're evaluating themselves based on that, and they're evaluating their manliness. My response when I'm having conversations with people that I'm like, look, if you want to know who the man of the house is, if there's a noise and somebody has to get up and take care of business, who is that? If that's you, then all the other stuff you don't have to worry about. Just don't worry about that. The other stuff is just posturing. Yep, extravagant treats of deliciousness. What did you end up doing with the 4L60 Trans? I still have it. Does somebody need one that they can rebuild and put in something? Super Richie power packages for the win. Picture in front of 7-Eleven with the GoPed. Okay, maybe we'll use that for one of the live feed thumbnails. You have all men in your chat room. Well, they should be. I mean, you should be the person that does that. I need a built Turbo 400. I have some Pontiac Turbo 400s that don't need to be rebuilt. They're ready to go. So if anybody needs a Pontiac Turbo 400, let me know. I'm going to close out our poll at 67.33. So 2/3 of the people, package people, I like that. People like packages. I got a package today. I got a camshaft for the 4.3 liter V6. I was curious what you ended up doing. Well, we bought another 4L60 Trans. I found a rebuilt one because this broke when I was out in Ohio, so it was a long way from home. So we just searched around, and the guys from Car Farm helped me find one that a guy was selling, and it happened to be a rebuilt one from Summit with the Corvette servo in it. So it chirped second. T, my GoPed, it's all stock. It does have a kickstand on it. Everybody's trying so hard to be cool, and they don't realize they already are. I'm good. And I'm good whether I am or not, whether I'm cool or not. That's okay. That stopped being that. Richard, do you have a Facebook page? Yes, I do. It's my name, just Richard Holdner. I'd like to send you a video of my van. You can see it on Facebook. The ice cream drag van. That'd be cool. B&R, I still have that 4-speed. Yeah, if you want me to check something, she is interested in selling that. I bought a package from Texas Speed. I asked them for 600 wheel horsepower on pump 93 while retaining the character of the LS7. They gave me exactly what I asked for, and I was doing 145 in it today. Nice. Was the 600 wheel horsepower and pump gas with a naturally aspirated LS7? You already have a wife and kids. What does it matter at this point? Trying to be cool. Well, your kids are not going to think you're cool if you know anything about teenage kids. They're, no matter what I did. Hey, look, when I was in junior high, I was doing flips on skis. Yeah, we don't really care about that. No, but I was the only one. Yeah, that was a long time ago. They don't care about any of that. I haven't told them a lot of stuff. a lot of stuff that I've done can't be told until later on. Richard, thanks for the answer on the 99. What would your route be to make 400 wheel horsepower? Well, 400 wheel horsepower in an automatic Z71 is going to be like 500 flywheel horsepower. So 500 flywheel horsepower out of a naturally aspirated 5.3, if that's what you're trying to do. I have videos up on that. It takes a lot of stuff. It takes everything. It takes a very good ported heads, a very good intake manifold, and a pretty big camshaft, something that's not going to be terribly streetable. So if you want that, you can go that route. And like I said, those videos are already up. Just do a search for 500 horsepower 5.3s. I have one that made 540 or something, but it's doing it 7,700 RPM and it loses a lot of torque. So fast manifold, some CNC heads, trick flow, 205, 215, something like that. We used ASCAS 220s that were then ported, and then like a fast intake. Did I say that already? And then a camshaft that's going to be like a BTR stage 4 cam or a Summit stage 4 cam. I want 600 NA too. My wife calls Van the other woman. Yeah, that's true. She was indecisive last week. We talked about that. Been 4 months now. No, she wants to sell it. She just wants to sell it for the right price. Minus 2 degrees per pound to boost or more. 4.3 dealer V6, 18 pounds before I keep sending parts to the moon. If you're taking out 2 degrees per pound to boost, you're going to get pretty low on timing at 18 pounds. That means you've taken out, if you have 18 pounds and 2 degrees per pound to boost, that's 36 degrees of timing that you're taking out. That means you're at, if this motor probably wanted 36 degrees of timing NA, assuming it did that, you're at 0 degrees of timing. So 0 degrees of timing is not going to make very much power. I don't know what kind of fuel you're using. Dad, your car is embarrassing. It shakes and rocks everywhere. When they see the Omni, because I haven't had a really good car. Well, I had a Ferrari, and they liked that car, and they were little when I had that car, so I could take them to school and stuff, and so that was pretty cool. But I haven't had something that's really like fast and exciting. Lisa's Mercedes is turbocharged, so they think that that's fun. The truck's not very fast because it's all stock, but when the Omni gets here, they're gonna like that because the Omni's pretty cool. BOP Turbo 400 has a stronger bell housing, thicker than Chevy, except rare heavy-duty Chevy Turbo 400s casted. Yeah, I think I have 2 Turbo 400s and converters for those. Could turbo cam mean the hardness of the cam lobe to handle more spring force? No, that's not what it means. All the cams will actually have the same depth hardness if the cam manufacturers are doing their job. TO4E, I don't know what you mean by thoughts. Couldn't come up with a number. Oh, okay. I'll send you an email, BNR. Do you need other Pontiac stuff? I have some other Pontiac stuff too. And on that note, it's time to go. I will see you guys all tomorrow.